Hi, I'm Damaris Reyes. We're going to start the Housing and Land Use Committee meeting for CB3. Thank you for all the members. We have a very light agenda, so hopefully we can get out of here really quick. We just district needs statement and sort of updates we might want to be adding for 27. So we're going to begin with a roll call. I mean, we don't need a quorum for the minutes, but unless there's any material changes in the minutes that were sent out or roll call. Herman. Ollie. Campbell. Ruad. Jaylene. Sandra. And the rest are Steve and Megan and Anisha are not here. I'm doing that right now. And Campbell, make sure that when you speak take that mic and point it to you. Then Herman take that one and then Jaylene can use this one. There's plenty of mics, so we don't even have to share right now. Don't forget, because I keep forgetting, when you talk, you have to press it, and when you're done talking, you have to press it so somebody else can talk. Okay, it's not automatic, y'all. So, at the last meeting, John was here for discussion, and folks were asked to submit any comments or feedbacks that they wanted to have for consideration, and we did not get any. I did send a reminder. I was supposed to send it out last night, but I'll be honest, I fell asleep on my computer. And so I sent it out this afternoon, but so didn't get anything to see. Okay. So, given Edison that the central office has been looking to make sure we have statistics that are available. So, see anything. I could see that better. That's fine. Yeah, you're gonna unplug it. Don't. Okay, that's good. That's good. I could see it. And we should make a decision how.
Housing in CD3 is increasingly unaffordable for residents, and the district has become increasingly socially stratified. Community District 3 currently has the highest income diversity rate of any community district in New York City, 11.1% of the district having an income of less than $1,000. 15.3% of residents with an income of over $200,000. 24.8% of residents residents live below the poverty line. 50% of households have incomes under 56,550. 24.6% of residents make less than 20,000. 24.9% of residents make between 100,000 and 250,000. More residents make 150,000 than make 40,000, 40,000 and 60,000. Average median asking rents in C3 went up 8% when comparing the second quarters of 2024 and 2025. Median asking rent for the second quarter 2023 is 4,400.
Median, and then should it be, I think it should be one, unless we're taking an average of multiple medians. But an average and a median, two different. It says average median, where it's highlighted. Is that what the data point is? I'm asking, like, I don't know if it's an average figure or a median figure. Okay.
Quarter two average median rent in 2024 was 4,154. Quarter two average median rent 2025 was 4,470. Note these values were calculated from Street Easy data. Note these values were calculated from Street Easy data by aggregating median monthly rents reported for the East Village, Chinatown, and Lower East Side neighborhoods. 23.9% of renter households in CD3 are severely rent burdened and spend more than half their money and income on housing. Additionally, CD3 is experiencing a crisis of street homelessness, and it is clear that affordable and supportive housing is needed. But it must be targeted at affordability levels appropriate for current neighborhood income. The points below show a need for an increase in an in 2023, median household income was just 56,500. CD3 MHI from the 2023 ACS 5-year estimate is 150 below. HUD's 2025 NEC 50% AMI level, while other low Manhattan districts are well above 100% AMI. This portrays CD3 as the last area of affordability and as an area with a need for diverse housing options at varying incomes that reside here. Should I keep going? Between 2022 and 2023, people gained 848 housing units. As of 2022, 4,035 units had been constructed since 2010. Updated data shows a total of 5,603 newly available units as of 2003. Overall net unit count is 7.5%.
Oh, that ranks in terms of that the over change. Okay.
for the expansion of the land trust are proving to be an effective mechanism for permanently serving affordable housing. In CD3, the Cooper Square CLT owns the land under 23 buildings, and the Cooper Square Mutual Housing Association manages 6 total buildings with 418 housing units and more than 24 storefronts, ensuring that they are permanently affordable resource in the area. There has also been a new community land trust established in Chinatown in the Towers Sale, incorporated in 2020, is seeking to acquire city-owned land for senior and family housing, accessible supportive housing. In CD3, there is a need for more support for planning and operations of CLTs that are looking to expand and as well as support for emerging CLTs that need technical assistance and education. CLTs also need priority consideration when disposing of city-owned property and need financial incentives to encourage the transition of city foreclosed properties into CLT ownership.
Yeah, that's great.
Ability of HDFC holdings. Increasing operating costs, lack of affordable refinancing options, and gentrification-fueled property value escalation has resulted in many housing development fund cooperatives being converted to market rate housing or being lost to foreclosure. To ensure they remain a financially solvent and safe source of affordable housing in our district, HDFCs need expanded support services, financial training, enhanced and stronger resale restrictions, including sales price caps and long-term tax abatements. Also say that
The community should request that HBD does not transfer the HDFC or interim to for public disposition. They should be really. You see, a lot of them has tax.
Yeah, just press it. So. Yeah, no, but I was gonna respond, so. I guess they can both be on so long as we're not talking at the same time. Okay, so. Okay, well, that's good. They'll let us know what's going on and we'll learn from that. So, are you saying like buildings, were in transition to becoming to HDFCs and that they didn't make it and that we should be requesting that HPD continue down that course and not sort of revert the properties back to other projects or for disposition of buildings?
A lot of the HDSC, let's put it that, are behind in taxes, huge amount of taxes, anywhere up to $4 or $5 million. They are poorly run. They have units that people are not paying.
I just need to know what is the resolve that you're suggesting that we put in here? What is it that you're saying, right, about that in specific? Is it that you want to say, dispose of properties, work with properties that are in foreclosure, or you want to say something different?
HDFCs, those, which are those buildings. What the city is doing is putting them on the in-rem list. And then transfer those to Mellon. It's the organization, the bank that buys these buildings and then sell them at penny. To redirect those buildings to either community-based organization and make them into rentals. That way you will get rid of the speculation of those buildings, either selling them at a price, which means that they end up in the unaffordable units.
So how many in CB3 is this happening to?
It's probably about 30 buildings in this.
Because we need to document.
Yeah.
So if we could get that information, because, then that gives a documented need. We, have 30, I don't know how many do we have about in CB3 HDFCs, do you know?
Because I just, one of them transferred to actually for management.
Yeah.
And of course, the city to pay the outstanding debt for that building. So, and now it's becoming a rental. That
But,
means there's no speculation in it.
but you're saying there's about 30 that are in danger in CB3 out of how, like, what do we have? That 50,
Yeah.
60, I mean, how many do we have in ground in community board 3?
I'm not sure what the number. We could, yes, because
Really?
this is where HDFC started.
So we should really get all that information because that's very powerful information.
See, we can get some of the data, and then let's just be clear that we're asking this, so we can figure out what exactly to say. So, I'm sure that if they're going to be disposing of these properties, that they do not dispose of them to private for-profit entities, and that our preference would be maybe housing corporations that are not-for-profit housing corporations could manage the buildings and maintain the levels of affordabilities, therefore, I don't know, have other kinds of impact.
Simple like that. Yeah.
So,
Just short, you don't have to put a lot of stuff, just that.
Get the information on HDFCs.
I could try to come.
We
with
could
that.
try to do that? Okay. Either that or tell us where to get it.
Yeah,
It's a little bit. I mean, I can.
So why don't we try it? And then we can just. And then get the data, we can go back and, that. See, and I think it ultimately is to. To, redirect those properties. Nonprofit developments. We should manage it in the case of education.
all the,
support for residential resiliency upgrades. CD3 over 21,000 dwelling units are located within the 2015 FEMA identified 100-year flood plain, and over 27,500 units are located within the 500-year floodplain. Current programs that finance residential resiliency upgrades are not being widely used in CD3, and there is a need for the city to tailor programs to the specific financial needs of the low and moderate income housing providers, including HDFC co-op boards, so that they can complete critical building infrastructure upgrades and take proactive steps to become environmentally resilient.
That's still a need.
NYCHA and Section 8 housing. The New York City Housing Authority, NYCHA, owns and manages over 40,900 units of low-income housing in CD3, and the preservation of these apartments are viable, secure, publicly owned housing is vital to ensure that our community remains diverse and economically integrated. Changes in agency leadership, new federal monitoring, uncertain funding from HUD, and proposals for increasing public-private partnerships underscores the fragile condition of NYCHA funding and operations in CD3. The latest reports estimate a 20-year capital investment needed of 78.3 billion of capital and repair need, significantly more than the 31.8 estimated in a 2018 report. CB3 has identified the following as pressing district needs: capital improvements and repairs. To the extent possible, the capital repairs in CD3 NYCHA buildings need to be funded and construction and repairs expedited. Service being elevator, heat, hot water, water, electricity procured at the rate of 22.9 outages per building in CD3 in 2003, down from 23.5 in 2002. Any participation in Next Gen NYCHA, RAD, and the Trust for Public Housing. The NYCHA 2.0 programs, including Next Gen NYCHA infill and permanent affordability commitment together, PACT, the local iteration of the Federal Rental Assistance Administration RAD program, as well as the Blueprint for Change proposal to create a preservation trust are new models for public housing that may introduce the private sector into NYCHA property and could dramatically change how developments are managed and funded. Several developments in CD3 have been discussed as possible sites for implementation of the three programs. There must be increased community engagement and transparency from NYCHA regarding these new programs to better understand the impact public housing stock and public housing residents.
Uh, Too slow. I think what we're gonna have to direct our comments to, it's always gonna be the city you're gonna have to pick up for. And everybody else is it's not going to give us. So my sense is that's action, but so and the data to make that argument. We don't have it completely yet. And I think to
And that's in vain. So the community boards are now also creating agendas of questions for the agencies. For our consults with the agencies in September. We just had a meeting today and we decided to start every agency with boilerplate questions. Among which are, how are the federal cuts expected to impact programs in FY 27, because it's not going to be the current year, really. It's the one starting next July that they're really going to be felt. So do you have plans to eliminate programs, to eliminate staff? Because the city and state are not going to be able to cover everything. So along with your research, we will also be asking the agencies in September. Same question.
yeah, projections we're seeing. And so then we see coming from Washington, Y and Z, where
So I expect that the agencies already are planning eggs programs to eliminate the gap. However, I do not trust that they will tell us what they're planning, but we certainly have the right to ask.
any You see the thing. uh, thing, uh,
The one thing I know, working with the programs like they is that they're saying to us that we have to hurry up and try to get most of our contracts signed for November. I, I suspect, we're doing housing programs, we have funding contracts, the buildings that we're working with, we have to sign, contracts so that the city would give us money or pay for money that we were committed, or some of the organizations are committed. In order to get that money, we have to sign those contracts. And so I suspect that it's the politics that govern a lot of those, because if what the federal government is doing. So right now, I think they have the money, those contracts, and they're not knowing what will happen in January. Especially in New York, maybe that kind of stuff. So they said we should be able to close the contracts by November.
This is
Just one question. Still waiting. Because they're good articles, and no one said, talked about the timing, and anything. But how long?
So I, oh, so we're gonna vote. So what we're gonna be voting in October. So what we do on this kind of stuff is some of this information we get in the budget consults. So everything's are basically written, but we could plug in a few things. But be optimistic, and I don't think you're really gonna know till next year, to be honest. No. I think, don't forget, along with this, you're gonna very possibly see like building materials and costs go way up because of the tariffs. So you're gonna have less money and things are gonna cost a lot more. Construction, all of the costs that use materials, but I wouldn't, I mean, at this point, everything's speculative. Yet we still have our budget requests for specifics in addition. And we're sending those now. If there's any like specific things, we need them now. We were going to have our last, elevators. Roofs. And now in the past, well, when we do that, not for this, but for our budget requests. But, you know, that should be a question of, I think two nights ago, 2 years ago, we were able to get the list of what was needed. We didn't get it last year. You remember I gave it to you? We asked for it at the budget consult. I will, and you will be there. Hopefully you didn't go last year, but hopefully you will be there. So in September, we have 3 full days of budget consults. They're about an hour. So you were at least one. Yes. So they're about an hour and a half per agency. And the district managers and the committee chairs, hopefully go to all of them. And they're now on Zoom. So it's like HPD is 9 to 10:15, and then NYCHA comes in. So let's ask questions now, and then you can discuss them in person. And don't forget with HPD, we have Ahmed's a commissioner. Oh, well, but he is, so. So I'm assuming he's going to come to the meeting.
All right. Our instruction.
Well, that's under transportation, sanitation and all that. Yeah, absolutely. we can put it. That's okay. Send me a question anyway. Send me your question because what we do is we make up for each agency, 12 boards together, make up an agenda of ask questions.
That's it. Because if there's no little bit.
Hi, and I'm the Department of City Planning Liaison for CB3, but just wanted to flag, the Department of City Planning, is doing public engagement now for the Manhattan Plan, which is a holistic look at housing in Manhattan. So if you go to manhattanplan.nyc, that's the website where you can learn more about the plan. There's opportunity, you can share your ideas about, housing in Manhattan. And then you can also see in the website future, kind of out and, engagement, public. There'll be, I think, a stand in Astor Place on Friday after work. On the website, you can see all future cabling events as they're confirmed. So again, that's manhattanplan.nyc. And yeah, would love to encourage everyone to submit any ideas you have there. Yeah. That's yeah, it's
Looking at housing, where we can have more housing. And what I was saying is, my understanding is that there's very little available in CB3. I know the borough president has done an inventory. There's maybe a few lots. And I just think there's not opportunity here, unfortunately.
Question. It's kind of the stage that it's at right now is more, it's in the ideas gathering stage. So like this is kind of the opportunity for, the public ideas and then also we're consulting with different agencies and kind of taking a look borough-wide. The idea is to have a report by the end of the year that kind of outlines for the whole borough of Manhattan, like kind of ideas. So that would include CB3. But at this moment, there's nothing particular kind of for CB3, but kind of we're in the stage of gathering ideas and then kind of whatever is gathered will be told at the end of the year.
Question. I about this process, not in so much detail. I thought that I don't know if it was to the community board or if it was when I wear my other hat that someone wanted to come and make a presentation or talk about it. Is there like, I mean, I know you just made this announcement here to us, but you just give me a little bit more detail about, so it's like a bunch of like public engagement and question survey, like that kind of like charrette style, looking at your community and talking about what's available and get ideas. Is it set up sort of like that?
So online on the website, there's there's a survey. I think on the survey, it's like a mix of kind of general ideas of like what you'd like to see in Manhattan, and then also like if you have any specific sites that you think would be good for housing or affordable housing. And then the tabling events are more just kind of getting general ideas about what people want to see in like what neighborhoods, like what type of planning is there.
That's right.
Application is running, I believe, through September, and then end of August, September, around there. And then the report is scheduled to be published in December. But then the report would be just kind of a publishing of ideas. It wouldn't necessarily go directly into any sort of changes. It's going to just be a baseline for future potential planning.
I was just, there was, it's for our committee, if there was, but I mean, given the timeline, what I had in mind, I don't know if it'll work.
They've been inviting us to events for a couple of months. I actually think there's less enthusiasm here because we know there's no place available.
John's present, Ariadna, Alistair, Herman, Trevor, Michelle, Molly, Campbell, Rod, Jaylene,
Here.
Sandra, Steve, Megan, Anisha. That's it.